Welcome to Women Mastering Midlife, where we dive deep into the rich complexities of womanhood in our middle years. I'm your host, Victoria Bird, a pharmacist, certified women's health coach, and your guide on this transformative journey. Whether you're navigating perimenopause, thriving in menopause, or mastering midlife's many transitions, this is your weekly dose of expert guidance, compassionate support, and a judgment-free space to explore it all. Together, we will rewrite the narrative around this remarkable stage from being something to dread into a beautiful transition. Oh, welcome back. Thank you, listeners, for joining me today. It is the most wonderful time of the year. I'm a Christmas fanatic. I am one of those Thanksgiving, so a long time ago, there was a commercial for Target. Like they were saying goodbye on Thanksgiving and they were kind of pushing people out the door, and then they closed the door and he turned around and his wife had the entire house decorated for Christmas. That's me. I'm that person. We have a tree upstairs in kind of a different area from the main living area. And typically around Veterans Day, we start to get that tree set up because nobody really goes up there that often. And if anybody's feeling in the mood to watch a Hallmark Christmas movie, they could go upstairs, kick on the fireplace, and sit by a Christmas tree. But this time of year is a big time of year for health coaches. I've done many health coaching programs, one of which was, diet, exercise, so meal plan, workouts, all the things. And this time of year, we're pushing, get healthy January 1st, start with me. So it's a big time of year for a lot of, you'll be seeing like a lot of Thanksgiving, Halloween, you start to see ads for Christmas shopping and decorating for the holidays and the Christmas movies. But then almost around mid-December, you see this shift because you figure, okay, people have either gotten all their gifts or they know what they're getting and we don't need the marketing anymore. They start shifting into New Year's. And we start shifting into the conversation of New Year's resolutions. And I have mixed feelings on New Year's resolutions. For me, I was a big New Year's resolution person for a very long time. And then I became a word person. What is my word? What is my word for the year? And I would spend a really long time trying to think of what my word was going to be. And I'd put it on a bracelet and I'd write it on the cover of a journal. And then I realized that it was kind of just the same feeling of a New Year's resolution. By February, my word had gone out the window. And so now I'm kind of, I don't want to sound like a negative Nelly, but I just am not a fan. It's just not for me. But today we're going to talk about the pros of New Year's resolutions, the cons of New Year's resolutions, the failure rate of New Year's resolutions, and talk about what we can do this year so that in December we look back on 2025 and we think, wow, this was the year I set boundaries for myself, took care of myself, prioritized myself, learned about my health, became my own advocate, found a passion that I love, whatever it will be. But we look back with nostalgia on 2025. I feel like everybody, 2020 was a dumpster fire. 2021 was really not much better. 2022, we were like clawing our way back to life. 2023, 2024, it's starting to feel normal, but not really still normal. And then there's always this feeling of like, I feel like I'm holding my breath for when the next shoe is going to drop. Because there's something about that 2020, we were all robbed of our own agency for quite a while. And there's just this feeling of complete loss of control for me, especially, that came with 2020. And so now that we're getting into 2025, we're on the second half of this decade, alleluia. Maybe a New Year's resolution is a way to gain some control of your life, right? So I will say it does give you that fresh start mentality. So if you are looking for a fresh start for 2025, I can't believe I'm saying 2025 already. If you are looking for a fresh start, then maybe the New Year's resolution is a good one for you. Maybe that's a way to say, okay, I am wiping my dusting my hands off. I am putting away 2024. 2025 is going to be XYZ. And maybe this is a goal setting opportunity and you find personal growth in New Year's resolutions. They inspire you, they motivate you. Maybe you have a tradition in your family or in your culture that there is a significance to New Year's resolutions. So all of those things are good things. And if I'm here to say that the worst thing you could possibly do for yourself this year is make a New Year's resolution, then you're going to be fine. Like, if that's the worst thing that'll happen to you, the worst decision that you'll make all year is to make a New Year's resolution to do better, be better, feel better, whatever. Gosh, 2025 will be great. I think the thing is that it sets this unrealistic expectation for a lot of people. So if you're thinking about, what am I going to do this New Year's? Like, what is my resolution going to be? Let's set some realistic expectations for ourselves. The unrealistic expectations, like if you have not worked out all year, if you have not worked out in 6 months, or if you haven't cooked a meal for yourself or eaten a vegetable since I don't even know when, then what expectations are you setting for yourself? Is that realistic? If you're going to, because I feel like sometimes people with their resolutions, they just go like hog wild, like I'm going to be a new person tomorrow. It just seems unrealistic. And I don't want to set you up for failure. According to most studies, the failure rate for New Year's resolutions is around 80% by February. So if you're okay with those odds, go for it. But for me, I just feel like the pressure and the stress in January, I don't know, man. January, I prefer the term wintering. We're going to talk about this in January. There's a book called Wintering by Catherine May. I'm not going to get too much into it because then you'll be like, this is redundant when I talk about it. But I prefer just the settling in and the cozying up of January. January around here is just such a depressing time. It doesn't stop raining. We have like no breaks of gray. It is dark until noon and the sun goes down at 4. I don't know. Like peak winter is so dreary in the Pacific Northwest. It's another state of misery for me. And so I would prefer to just unpack the holiday season, slow down, decompress, process, breathe. All the things that can't happen because of Nutcracker and finals and family visiting and holidays and tradition. I am like a crazy Christmas person, I've already said. So we do all the things. We go to Snowflake Lane. We see the Christmas lights. I don't know if we'll ice skate this year because of Maddie's hip surgery, but like gingerbread houses, all the Christmas movies, Christmas cookies, you name it, we're doing it. Advent calendars, like all the things. And so in January, it's just a nice time to like put it all away until next year. And so setting all these expectations around January 1st just feels very, I don't know, so much pressure, so much stress. And the timing is kind of arbitrary, right? Because if you decided today, when you're listening to this, that you want to be a healthier version of yourself, then why can't you just start today? Like, why January 1st? And a lot of times people actually put off being healthy. Like they get to Halloween, they get to the end of October, and they're like, oh, yeah, I mean, why not just eat all the candy? Because then it's going to roll into Thanksgiving, and then it's going to roll into Christmas, and then it's New Year's. I'll just be better January 1st. How many times have you said that to yourself? Yeah. These overly ambitious goals of changing your life. Have you thought about the support system that you're going to put into place? Do you have somebody to help you with picking up your kids or driving your kids somewhere? Or do you have a local gym that has an affordable membership? Are there coaches and trainers that you have on board to help support your goals? You know, do you have a way to track your progress? These are all things that help New Year's resolutions tank by February, is that we aren't setting ourselves up with the proper systems in place to really thrive on our New Year's resolution. So instead of saying January 1st, this is my New Year's resolution, I'm going to XYZ. Let's start some continuous goal setting throughout the year. Okay. So if you're hearing this, the New Year is upon us. So you start with the new year because it's the time that you're actually listening to this. If we were listening to this in June, I would say start continuously goal setting now and make some SMART goals. Smart as in clever, but also smart as in specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Okay? So SMART goals are what we as coaches have used to help you stack habits. Habit stacking is huge. I always tell my clients, small changes make big differences. If you set yourself a goal of 3 days a week for the next 2 weeks, I am going to walk 10 minutes a day. It's relevant because it's going to get your body moving. It's time bound. You've given yourself 2 weeks of doing it. It's measurable. You're going to walk for 10 minutes. It's specific. It's not, I'm just going to be healthier, right? So you take that 10-minute walk. And for a lot of people, that may just be nothing. Like setting a timer, heading outside, getting on a treadmill for 10 minutes, easy peasy. For some, that is very hard. Getting up and motivated to walk. Getting out in the rain, getting out in the cold, in the darkness, getting on a treadmill. Maybe you don't have a treadmill and the weather outside is yuck. Set a timer on a watch, set a timer on your oven, walk around your house continuously for 10 minutes. Listen to a podcast. Listen to me talk about New Year's resolutions. But those are goals that are specific, measurable, achievable. Do you feel lost in this midlife transition? Are you a stranger in your own body and don't have the time or energy to sift through all the information regarding perimenopause and menopause? The Women Mastering Midlife community is your solution. Get instant, on-demand access to expert guidance from a certified women's health coach and pharmacist, a judgment-free space to share your journey, research-backed resources and vetted recommendations, simple strategies for nutrition, sleep, stress, fitness, and lifestyle changes, twice monthly opportunities for group coaching, and direct support when you need it most. Stop wasting time and money on miracle solutions. Join a community of women who get it. Visit womenmasteringmidlifecommunity.com to start thriving in your next chapter. Together, we will age boldly. Given your status right now, given your state of being, what can you commit to today? If all you can commit to is I can walk on a treadmill 20 minutes twice a week. That is far better than what you were doing last week. And then you do that for 2 weeks and you say, wow, okay, I'm feeling better. My joints don't ache. My knees don't hurt as bad when I walk. Maybe I'm going to increase it to 3 times a week. Or maybe I'm going to increase twice a week to 30 minutes. Those small changes will make a big difference. If you can pick something that you can stick with for 2 weeks, and then 4 weeks, and then 6 weeks. Then you're looking at the rest of 2025. You're looking back in December, and you're like, wow, this is where I started, and this is where I am. I can't believe all I could promise myself to do was this, but look at where I am now. And then maybe a few months in, the walking is going well. You decide, I'm going to add getting to bed 30 minutes earlier, or I'm going to add turning off my phone an hour before bedtime. For some people, that is an impossible task. The idea of turning off that device an hour before bedtime. Oh, the doom scrolling I can't do laying in bed. But think of goals that you can habit stack, that you can take. Let's call them micro goals, okay? So micro goals are little goals instead of a big goal. So yes, I want to be healthier in 2025. I want to master midlife. Like I want to figure this thing out. I want to grab midlife by the horns. I want to win the day. Okay, so that's your big year goal. What are the micro goals that I can achieve to get there? So then we take these tiny little goals. I'm going to add a vegetable to my plate every time I cook dinner, and I eat dinner at home 5 nights a week. So for 5 nights a week, I'm going to add a vegetable to my plate. Then it's for 7 nights, I'm going to eat a vegetable every night. Or, okay, I added a vegetable to dinner. I'm going to add a vegetable to lunch. These are all, they might seem so simple and they might seem so small and so pointless. But if you can pick things that you can sustain long term, you're creating a new lifestyle for yourself. So the idea of New Year's resolutions don't even matter anymore because you've made the choice to make these small habits stick. And maybe not even on a health tangent, but maybe you want to reach more personal growth in terms of you want to write. You want to become a creative writer. I think in midlife, as our brains are reconfiguring and we're no longer responsible for keeping children alive and breathing, we have a minute to think to ourselves, what is that one thing I've always wanted to do, but I was afraid to try? Or what was that one thing I thought I would be good at, but I took a route that would get me a job that could pay the bills? Or, many times girls are good at science and math and they don't raise their hands. And so they stop going the route of STEM. And maybe those are passions of yours. Or maybe you want to go back and take a class. What are some things in your personal growth that you could use habit stacking and micro goals? If you've always wanted to write a book, maybe it's the micro goal of writing for 30 minutes every night, blocking that time for yourself. And maybe that's a goal that you add to eating vegetables, taking a walk, lifting weights. But if we start small and we build momentum, then you're focusing on that system rather than the outcome, right? So you're focusing on your process and you're focusing on just getting those little things. And then when a year goes by, you can sit back and you can reflect. Wow, look how far I came. But we're not just going to look back a year from now. We're going to look back weekly, monthly, quarterly, biannually. We are going to reflect regularly. I like to take Fridays as an opportunity to celebrate the small wins, no matter what they are, sharing them with other people, talking them out loud, putting them in a journal. If you don't have, if you don't feel comfortable sharing your personal wins with people, or you don't have a group or community to celebrate your wins in, but self-reflecting and saying, gosh, what did I do this week for myself? What did I do this week for my goal? Well, I did it. I walked for 10 minutes 3 times this week. Or, you know what? I only walked twice because getting that third one in was really hard with my schedule. So how can I adjust for next week so that I can do better or I could be more consistent? But celebrating along the way. As parents, we're so good at celebrating our children's wins, right? When they're little, they color a picture and it looks like complete and utter garbage. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Look at what you did. And you put it on the refrigerator. Or they make you an art project, or they tied their shoes, or they remembered their multiplication tables. We celebrate our children so easily. And we hopefully we celebrate our spouses and our friends. Gosh, when I share something I'm proud of my child accomplishing to a close friend, and I get a message back of like, this makes my heart so happy. Maddie went back to dance class for the first time this week, which is totally going to date when I'm recording this early, but she went back to class for the first time. And I took a picture, and I'm not sharing it on social media. It's a private picture. She's like, do not share that with, so I respect that. But I said, I'm going to send this to a friend, and I sent it to my friend. And she immediately responded with like, way to go, Maddie. That's so awesome. And then a little bit later, she's like, okay, you have to warn me because I'm crying in Costco. Like, we celebrate our friends. We celebrate our friends' kids. Like, her joy for my daughter was palpable. Why don't we celebrate ourselves? Right? Like, why is it so hard for us, especially as women, to be like, wow, I did this, or I made dinner instead of going out to a restaurant or getting takeout or, doing a quick frozen meal. Like, I made it something from scratch for myself, or I didn't drink alcohol this week, or I journaled gratitude for this world and life that I'm living every day this week. Those are all wins. Why are we not celebrating ourselves? We will champion our friends. We will champion our children. We have to be better for ourselves. If your best friend was talking to herself the way you talk to yourself, you'd be mad. So start treating yourself like your own best friend. Celebrate your wins, reflect on what your day looked like, what your week looked like, your month, and make adjustments. Like, we're all driving on the highway of life, and there will be detours and there will be road closures. And instead of just stopping in our tracks, we detour, we re-navigate, and we continue on. Might take us a little longer than we thought to get there, but we keep going. And that's what we should be doing instead of these New Year's resolutions. So I particularly am not a fan of the New Year's resolution. I would much rather it be a year-long personal growth, health growth approach. But you have to know what works best for you. If making a New Year's resolution is the best way for you to kick your health into gear or kick your mental well-being into gear or learn something new, then by all means, use the resolutions. I will say that community is vital. I have found, even in my own personal journey, I know what to do as far as what to eat. I know how to sleep. I know more about nutrition and more about exercise and strength training, movement, all the things than I probably would care to know. But having a coach on board can really make a difference, because sometimes you need to know somebody is watching, right? Like, I have been sharing on my Instagram stories when I get up in the gym, and I've been sharing my workouts on Reels, not to show that I'm buff or look how heavy a weight I could lift, because goodness knows, like, if it was for vanity at all, I wouldn't be showing them, because I certainly don't like the way my body looks when I'm exercising. I show it for accountability for myself, because I know there are people watching. And I am doing it to say, you know what? Everybody has to start over every once in a while, right? So having that accountability piece, whether it's sharing on your Instagram, every day you're going to post that you worked out. Every day you're going to post that you drank your water. Every day you're going to post that you put your phone down, which really is counterintuitive, right? Anyway, whatever. But if you need accountability, my suggestion, selfish plug, is to join the Women Mastering Midlife community. I have created this space so that we can celebrate each other. I will celebrate you like you are my own child. I will celebrate you like you are my best friend. And I will hold you accountable. If you want me to hold you accountable, that is what I am there for. But I'm also there to support and uplift and remind you of, like, you are worth doing X, Y, Z. If not me, I have health coaches that I know all over this country. And we all have different mindsets. We all have different personalities. We all connect with people differently. Finding someone you connect with that can help you achieve and stack your goals and create habits that are a sustainable lifestyle is what I suggest over a New Year's resolution any day. So, on that note, I'm going to end this conversation by asking you to let me know, are you making a New Year's resolution this year? If so, what is it? If it's something you feel comfortable saying out loud, message me, share it on Instagram, comment on one of my posts about New Year's resolutions on social media. I want to know if it helps you to stay accountable by telling other people. I'm here for that. If you are ready to start habit stacking with some micro goals and doing SMART goals, continuous goal setting, an approach that isn't every New Year's I'm going to make a resolution that has an 80% failure risk. I just want to start changing things today for the rest of my life. I am here for you. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Let's put 2024 to bed, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks so much for joining me today. We will be back next week for another episode of Women Mastering Midlife. Until then, find us on Instagram at Women Mastering Midlife or Miss Victoria Bird, and join us in the Women Mastering Midlife community to continue our discussions. You'll find links to what you've heard here today, as well as ways to connect with us in the show notes below. This podcast is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. Please note the hosts, guests, and experts featured on this podcast are not your personal healthcare providers, life coaches, or advisors. The content should not be considered as professional, personalized medical, psychological, or prescriptive advice. This podcast is not a substitute for consulting your physician, therapist, local pharmacist, or relevant professionals to discuss your specific concerns and situation. The topics discussed should not be used as the sole basis to diagnose or treat any medical condition, make significant life changes, or make important decisions regarding your health otherwise. Women Mastering Midlife is not responsible for any undesired outcomes resulting from actions taken based on the information provided in this podcast. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests only and do not represent any of those other individuals or entities. Always consult with qualified professionals before making significant changes to your health regimen, lifestyle, or medical plans.